What's going on, everyone? I am the Kilted Cajun. Welcome back to my channel. And there's a little something going around on the interwebbies on YouTube. I've seen a couple of things about this. Talking about the remake of Dead Space that just came out. A game that I wish I would have been playing. I played the original. Unfortunately, I went ahead and got Callisto Protocol instead of getting Dead Space Remake, and boy, was I disappointed. But in this article from Bounding into Comics, they talk about YouTuber Synthetic Man trashes Dead Space Remake. Quote, most people will probably enjoy it and just ignore the woke, huh? Because everyone is brainwashed. I've seen a couple of other YouTubers talk about Synthetic Man and his take on Dead Space, and I wanted to. I was thinking about going check out one of his live streams or his videos to see what on earth could possibly be woke about a horror game. I thought twice about it because one of the reviews I saw of his take of Thor Ragnarok was it was bad to say the least, to be generous on that. So I want to thank Bounding into Comics and Ryan Pearson for doing a little digging, getting some quotes for me because, we'll get into it. So, in this article, I'm a little slow on the uptake this morning, sorry. YouTuber Synthetic Man trashes Dead Space Remake, says it's barely surpassed his minimum expectations amid the game's woke changes. Now, if your argument about this game is simply because it doesn't live up to your expectations as a remake, that's fine. Everyone has that opinion. You can look at the graphical updates and be disappointed by it, although, most of the internet would disagree with you. So, according to Bounding into Comics, for the most part, Dead Space Remake has been warmly received, to say the least. Open Critic collated an 89 top critic average out of 100. That's pretty damn good. While Metacritic's average Metascore across PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X is 88 out of 100. User score also averages about 8.6 out of 10. Maybe I'm wrong, but that seems pretty good to me. However, there are some points that some gamers have focused on, namely allegations of woke content because they don't actually know what woke is, or otherwise unnecessary changes presumably made to avoid offense. This is a horror game where you're smashing and dismembering all kinds of things left, right, and center. So the idea that it's going to avoid offense, okay. This is a far cry from EA's Your Mom Hates Dead Space 2 marketing campaign from 2011, which showed the reactions of middle-aged women watching the game's shocking horror. I almost want to go back and check that out. So, for example, the USG Ishimura has various Concordance Extraction Corporation posters within, motivating employees. While the original posters featured mostly Caucasian and Asian individuals, because, Ishimura, the remake changes several figures in the poster to be black, because that is the qualifications for being woke. That's it. Changing the figures in the poster to be black, or changing white dudes to women. That makes it woke. That is the only thing that makes it woke. And this is the issue I have. Because if this is what you're screaming to the rafters from, preaching to your fans, to your followers, to anyone who decides to waste their time watching your videos, I shouldn't say that. That's not nice. Please watch mine. If that's your qualifications for being woke, you don't understand what it is, and it just makes you look like a fool. Article continues. Further, the female uniforms are also modified with less prominent chests. Oh no. Now this I could possibly agree with. Desexualization of women. Women are depicted as more flat-chested to boot. Both these points can be seen in the, quote, Powering Humanity, that's the name of the poster, Powering Humanity into the Future posters showcased at by American Krogan. So, original versus the remake. Change the white dude to a black dude and cut the titties off of the woman. Is that woke? I mean, is it really? I would say borderline if your sensibilities lean that way. Let's continue. This one's kind of funny. American Krogan also showed another example where a poster for biological prosthetic was changed from featuring a white dude to a black woman. The new poster makes the prosthetic more blatant as her new hand is white. I just think this one's kind of funny. These are complaints about posters, the aesthetic look of the environment, and that makes it woke. Okay. Another poster that features Caucasian, Asian, and South Asian people was also changed. Arguably, it fits the corporate poster better, seemingly featuring the major demographics of white, black, Latino, and Asian people. Hey, it's more inclusive. Here's the thing. I'm going to get to my point later. Also, let's see, George Alexopoulos. Follow him on Twitter. He's a pretty cool artist, and he makes fun of just about everything going on in the ideological minefield lately. He's good. Go follow him on Twitter. Was one of many who noted the Dead Space remake featured a gender-neutral bathroom sign, complete with the words "all gender restroom" underneath for good measures. Quote, to be fair, Dead Space is a game about chopping off body parts. So, concerning this right here, this is nothing new when it comes to sci-fi. I believe there were, what's the word? The showers in Starship Troopers were male and female. The living quarters in Aliens, the second movie, was male and female. There's nothing woke about that. This is a military installation. They couldn't care less what you're packing between your legs. They want you to be able to fight, kill, maim, destroy, and follow orders. In the far future, ideas like this will be non-existent. Separation in bathrooms will be a thing of the past. Showers, gender-conforming showers will be a thing of the past. This is nothing new in science fiction. To call this woke, to call this little frame right here, all gender restrooms woke in a futuristic game is foolish. And I don't think you've been paying attention to science fiction for the past, since its inception. Representation continued as one of the game's major characters was seemingly changed to a lesbian. Who cares? No less than a few minutes starting the game, Kendra Daniels notes Isaac Clarke has been listening to a video message from his girlfriend, Nicole Brennan. He explains he hadn't seen her in 6 months and was worried about saying the wrong thing. I don't blame you, Kendra replies. I listened to my girlfriend over Hammond reciting security protocols. This may be mere sympathy or a ham-fisted attempt to show diverse character. It's a meaningless line of dialogue inserted. Okay, here we go. If your idea of woke is simply changing a male to a female or having a woman in charge of something or changing white characters to black characters, if that is what you consider to be woke, you need to pull your head out of your ass. That's not what woke is. It's not what most people consider to be woke is. If you are preaching changing to woman, changing to black is woke, then you are going to come off as foolish. No one's going to take you seriously. Woke is ideology ahead of story. Did they change the gameplay mechanics in Dead Space? Did they change the story to send some sort of message over the actual gameplay, the original story in Dead Space? I don't believe they did. Therefore, it's not woke. When you have a story that pushes checkbox, checkbox, checkbox on the set, diversity for the sake of diversity alone, sure. If it affects the gameplay, if it affects the story, yes, I'll agree with you all day, every day. But if it is simply aesthetic changes where nothing else, and nothing else, no. I'm going to disagree with you all day, every day. Coming out so vehemently, as we're about to see, is, again, foolish. Another element, article goes on, another element some took issue with was the Dead Space remake having content warnings. Okay, I don't understand why people have a problem with this. Where are the content warnings? Fuck you if you buy the new Dead Space remake, especially when the original is still available. Oh, because heaven forbid people want updated, beautiful graphics on next gen consoles. Because, this is the lamest generation in history. I could agree with you on some parts of that one. The user shared 2 screenshots of content warning. The first warns the player, quote, the upcoming scene contains depictions of graphic death. Can you turn those off? Does anybody know? The other screenshot shows the content warning for an audio log, potentially spoiling any twists therein. Now, that is a bit of a shame. The warning states the upcoming audio log contains depictions of psychological manipulation and medical malpractice. Okay, that's just a dumb change, but it's not woke. It's a bit, pussified, which, that's been going on for decades, You're buying a horror game. We don't need warnings like this in a horror game. You're dismembering people, creatures, alien things. This is just whatever. It should be noted the gameplay and plot of Dead Space features monsters made of twisted and mutated corpses which brutalize their victims and an equally sadistic cult. As such, some may expect to experience the content that the remake is warning players about. That is my point 100%. You bought this game. You are going into it with the understanding that this is going to be nasty and disgusting and it's going to talk about some foul shit. Why? It's, again, pussification. On the game's website about the content warning, EA explains, good EA, Dead Space contains graphic violence, no shit, including explicit depictions of dismemberment, that's the point, impalement, ooh, blood, gore, yay, vomit. So, you're warning about vomit? Oh my god, death. We want to ensure that as many players as possible can play and enjoy the game. So you give a warning? How is a warning like that going to bring in as many I don't understand that. Okay, now that right there, I can agree. If someone finds that, warning labels, graphical warning labels, audio warning labels, things like that, if that turns you off of the game because it's just ridiculous, I believe they're doing that with the new Silent Hill remake, it's kind of turning me off as well. I see it. I can understand that. But again, it's the whole woke argument with this. Content warnings are disabled by default. Wait a minute. Hold on. I'd like to take that back. The content warnings are disabled by default, along with the option to outright hide disturbing scenes behind a screen effect. Then where's the problem? If they're automatically disabled by default, you have to go out of your way to turn them on. So you have the option to turn off the warning labels. And you have the option to hide the disturbing scenes. What? Am I wrong? This is a win-win for everyone involved. You can still enjoy the game, enjoy the story without seeing all the blood and guts, because if you're overly sensitive, that's fine. Some people are just overly sensitive and legitimately triggered by shit like this. I have an irrational fear of cockroaches. I get triggered when a cockroach goes, because when I was a kid, one went flying across the living room. Those fuckers, they fly now. And it is an irrational fear. I know this, and I get legitimately triggered with a fight or flight response. It takes me a second being an adult, and I make fun of myself for this. I know it's irrational, but it's there. People have irrational responses to things like this, and the ability to turn it off or turn it on or hide it completely, I don't see a problem with this when it's something you can toggle on and off at any time, and when it's turned off, the content warnings are disabled by default. If you have a problem with this, you are the bitch. Sorry. I'm going to get some hate, and I don't care. Another element that some had been offended by was what many believe was a small addition which rejected capitalism. Ooh, see, I read this part already. This kind of shit makes you look stupid. Polygon co-founder Russ, oh, of course, because it's from Polygon. Oh, was one of the few. Oh no, he was pleased with it, praising Dead Space Remake not pulling any punches. He shows a small piece of graffiti on a wall that reads, "Fuck this shit. It's a shitty capitalist organization." Oh, Dead Space not pulling any punches. So you're cheering something on that was in the original game. Oopsie. They didn't add anything. Anti-capitalist message isn't entirely unfounded in the game setting, yes, because most far futures the capitalists have, taken over. They've taken over the corporations. The corporations run all this shit. Not all that different from today. Anyway, along with motivational posters seemingly desperate to encourage employees to see their work as useful for humanity, the CEC has engaged in illegal mining operations. Attempted to influence Earth's government through lobbying and put their own goals above the safety of their employees. Spoiler warning: the following paragraphs contain spoilers, so we're not going to go there. But the point is somewhat moot, however, as the graphic is present in the original Dead Space. Oops. Got to be very careful when you start running your mouth. You look foolish. However, let's get on to Synthetic Man. Discussing the Dead Space remake, the YouTuber Synthetic Man explained how he changed his mind about doing a review as the game was, quote, simultaneously not good enough, not bad enough, nor bad enough for me to have anything interesting to say. Okay. Despite this, he continues with his thoughts, summarizing his thoughts from an earlier community post and his time with the game when streaming. While he admits a lot of gameplay elements were improved, okay, along with the changes to room layout, story scenes, and objectives, he felt EA, quote, really fucked up a lot of horror elements here. I'd have to check that out. Part of that was necromorph designs look less human, which really takes away that uncanny valley factor. I've heard nothing but good things about the Dead Space remake. I've been wanting to watch Markiplier play it. Honestly, with the review scores from Metacritic, it's over 80%, almost 90% across the board. Animation and sound effect quality were also issues. And then, of course, there's the wokeness thing I talked about at length. And, of course, people were spurging out about it, even though it's obvious to anyone paying any amount of fucking attention. The crew has been diversified. Okay. So, does it affect the gameplay? Does it affect the story? The answer is no. One Hellion crew has been diversified, notably one now being a black woman. Ooh, your bigotry is showing. Who cares? When the look is the only thing they changed, when the only issue is aesthetics, who cares? Did they change the story at all? No. I know I'm repeating myself, but it's important to note. Calling something woke because they changed a character's race, gender, whatever. If that is the only reason you're calling it woke, you need to go back to the drawing board and understand that that's not what we believe it means. It's a checkbox mentality where the ideology comes before the story. The message comes before the story. That's it. The Mary Sue comes before the story. If the story in the Dead Space remake was not affected whatsoever, then your woke argument does not hold any water. Ultimately, it doesn't really... See, ultimately, it doesn't really matter considering she dies in the first minute, but for some reason, devs thought it was a good change. Do you know they thought it was a good change, or they just felt like changing it? Hey, let's try something different. When the game was made, somebody else made the game. They did the remake. Huh? Synthetic Man also mentioned that Nicole Brennan looks 50 now. She does? I'd like to meet a 50-year-old woman who looks like that without plastic surgery. No offense, ladies, but, we grow old. We do not look like that. No, her skin is way too fucking... No. By the time you are 50, you will have bags. You will have some serious baggage under your eyes. No matter how good you take care of your skin, you're going to have some wear and tear, especially underneath your eyes. This if this is yes, Nicole Brennan apologizes to Isaac Clarke. She looks 50. What are you basing this on? Her character is probably twice the age she was intended to be in the original. Okay, what was her age in the original? Further noting that he's aware the developers modeled her after Tanya Clark. Oh, hold on a second. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go take a look at Tanya Clark, shall we? Tanya Clark, we're going to do this. We're doing this real time. Images. IMDb, Tanya Clark. Okay. Let's take a look at that one right there. Huh. Okay. Boom. Yep. Okay. Okay. Well, that pretty much destroys your dumbass argument, Synthetic Man. Who voiced the character in Dead Space and is reprising her role in the recent released remake. So, this change is based on the look of the voice actress, and you are complaining about that. Oh, kind of sounds like you're looking for something to complain about to support your woke argument that doesn't actually legitimately exist. Quote, much like how Isaac Clarke now looks like voice actor Gunnar Wright. Okay, so I don't remember ever seeing Isaac Clarke in the original game. Okay. Who vaguely looks like Adam Sandler, but that's just laziness. Wow. He feels the trend of basic... What? Hold on. But that's just laziness, Synthetic Man fumed, explaining that he feels the trend of basing the character's... Hey, watch your editing. Basing the character's model off their actor or actress was, quote, the cheap route with the motion capture technology. No, it's to pay respect to the fucking person who put the work in as the voice actress. You are definitely grasping at straws here now, Synthetic Man. I never thought, just why am I not surprised I saw your take on Thor Ragnarok. While falsely assuming the poster should feature Asian and Caucasian people as the USG, Ishimura has a Japanese name, which nation CEC began in is not specified. He notes that they had been blackwashed. Oh my God. As only black people now had been used to divert. Yeah, he's just, Synthetic Man was definitely... He's just grasping at shit, trying to get some drama points on YouTube. It's funny that... Let's see, here's a quote. It's funny that even race-swapped Dr. Kine, too, I'm assuming Middle Eastern? Okay. I don't know, he's brown. Ooh, my goodness. Well, that just says something about you, doesn't it? I'm assuming they did this because Dr. Mercer, the guy who makes the Hunter... is Middle Eastern, so I guess it would be bad optics if the evil doctor was brown and the good doctor was white. Oh my God. Do I need to continue reading this? I'm gonna. Synthetic Man then preempts and rejects those who would claim he is nitpicking or looking to inject politics in the game. Quote, well, if it doesn't matter, then why did they change it? Because they felt like it, because they're the developers of the fucking game, and it did not change the game. Quote, they changed it to add representation, and that does matter. Huh? It's their game, their choice. If it doesn't affect the gameplay, who cares? Unless you're going to come out and say you don't think representation matters. But no, you know it does. Yes, it does. Get used to it. Representation matters in the gaming atmosphere. Like it or not. However, when that representation has absolutely no effect on the story and the gameplay mechanics, who gives a shit? It's when it starts invading. But if you don't speak up about it now, if you don't speak up about it now, what are they going to take next? Here's the thing. If you run your mouth and scream from the rafters now about such superficial changes in a game, you look like a fool. When it starts to affect, again, repeating myself, this I don't see as a problem. Again, that's just me. When it starts affecting the gameplay, the story, when ideology takes precedent over story, that is when you speak out. That is when you scream from the rafters. Because when you scream about it in this situation, it makes you look foolish and people don't take you seriously, much like most of Twitter. We laugh at them. We point at them, laugh and ridicule and mock because the things that they're doing is so just absolutely moronic. Superficial changes are meaningless, much like the need to change established characters in a superficial manner for representation is meaningless. There needs to be a happy medium somewhere, an equal representation. People like to see themselves whether you like it or not. Again, as long as it doesn't affect the gameplay. Let's finish this off. Representation. Let's get back to this. Unless you're going to come out and say you don't think representation matters. But no, you know it does, which is why you're pushing for this, which absolutely fucking disgusts me and pisses me off. He adds, this is a remake. You're shitting on someone else's vision. No. You people didn't make this. This is not Visceral Games making this remake. It's Motive Studio. Synthetic Man also took issue with Elizabeth Cross now surviving. I don't know anything about that. Sorry about the spoiler. Despite all logic and the big twist, Dead Space being completely butchered and incredibly cringe. Synthetic Man concluded those still critical of his opinion, despite the game being fun, is exactly why he didn't review the game. Quote, at the end of the day, Dead Space is still fun. It's just, the problem is, it's fun because the original game was fun. Well, yeah, that's what a remake is. They didn't make it all that much more fun. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Superficial. Again. So the problem to me is they only barely surpass the minimum standards of what I would expect for a remake. Now, unfortunately, given the nature of modern remakes, that makes it one of the best game remakes. Okay. Where's the problem? He explains that the Dead Space remake isn't, quote, as good as it should have been. Hold on. It's as good as the original, which everyone loves. I played it. It was fantastic. And they didn't make any changes to the gameplay. They only made superficial changes to a bunch of fucking posters. And that's why it's bad. Someone, if you've made it this far in this almost 30-minute video, which probably went on being 30 minutes, please explain to me how this is bad. I need help. If you come at me, give them an inch, they take a mile. Okay, I get it. However, there's no changes to the gameplay. Anyway, he explains the Dead Space remake isn't as good as it should have been, your opinion, due to various minor issues, and relents. Quote, most people will probably enjoy it and just ignore the woke shit because everyone's fucking brainwashed anyway, so what's the point of trying to wake them up? People are awake to the woke bullshit because it's woke bullshit, and it's in the front, it's in your face, it's so on the nose, it's ridiculous. Changing a poster in a game that people probably didn't even pay attention to in the original game is not woke. I'm not going to read this final little hyperbolic fucking statement right there. You can read that for yourself. I'll pause it. I'm not going to. No, because it's stupid. I don't know. Maybe I just have a different idea. I see the need for a middle ground, a nice little happy medium between the wokies, the lefties, the righties, and all this other stuff. I don't know, am I a centrist or something? I see things like this, these little changes, little cosmetic changes, as meaningless shit to please. I mean, did they do you honestly think they did it to please Twitter? To please the lunatics on the left? They changed the skin color of a couple of people. Supposedly they made a woman look old. Do you think they did that? Or it's possible, sure. But I still don't see that as making the game woke because it doesn't affect the gameplay. Again, I've said it over and over again. But I don't know. I find this take on Dead Space to be a bit moronic, but that's just me. Let me know what you think in the comments. Leave a like, leave a dislike, the whole spiel. I don't know. Am I looking at it through rose-tinted glasses? Am I not looking at it hard enough? I've been definitely critical. I just finished watching Velma, and my soul's a little more dead for it. But leave a like, leave a dislike. I do thank you for making it this far. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.